everyone. Welcome back to Susan Dawn's Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a brand new Sacred Union mini reading. I'm calling this a mini reading because I was not going to go full-fledged into a Sacred Union energy update today as far as an in-depth reading. I just wanted to pull some cards on the masculine and the feminine energies, just kind of see where we are today. The reason being, I'm in kind of self-nurturing mode. Yesterday was a big day. I went to see the touring company of Hamilton, the musical, which is absolutely phenomenal. Then I watched a hockey game. Then I was up until 2:30 in the morning watching the last show of the Eras tour for Taylor Swift. So I'm tired. So I wasn't going to do much today, but just kind of replenish my energy and self-nurture. But as I sat here, I realized that there was a lot that was coming through, and I want to talk about it. And then I pulled some cards just to kind of see where we are. And I was just going to pull the spread and then do a reading on the spread, but more information kept coming through. So I'm going to talk about the cards in a minute. First, I want to talk about what we're experiencing astrologically right now. So Mars has gone retrograde from now until February 23rd of next year, of 2025. And Mars is the planet of action, drive, ambition, your personal willpower. Mars is also the god of war. And so it's also associated with conflict, with tension. You might be feeling some tension, you might be feeling some friction in the undercurrent, but all that's happening, especially being in retrograde, especially with Mercury in retrograde at the same time, is it's culling all of the unresolved conflict within you. Any resentment, any tension, any friction that you have within yourself. This could be with other people as well, but if you're experiencing that with other people, remember that people, relationships, dynamics are reflections of energy that you're holding within yourself. So if you're experiencing friction within yourself, always turn that back within, look in the mirror, look at the reflection and say, okay, what is this actually bringing up for me? The mirror is not always going to be a direct reflection. It's not always going to be, well, this person's doing this, so that must mean I'm doing this. The mirror is going to be just showing you something about yourself. And it could be, for example, if someone is treating you disrespectfully, it doesn't mean that you're being disrespectful in turn. It could be that you're meant to have boundaries, which is interesting that that analogy just came up based on what we're going to talk about here. So be aware of power dynamics and continuing conflict. However, be aware that this is a great opportunity, great chance for self-mastery and transformation. So Mercury retrograde, Mars retrograde, lots of interesting energy coming up to the forefront, but it is all opportunity to further your growth, to further your transformation within yourself. That's all astrological events are. They are helping to support us and our soul growth. And when we shift our perspective to understand that, to look at it from that place of, oh, this is supporting me, it's not something I have to be afraid of, your whole journey will absolutely change. Okay, so this is interesting. I pulled some cards for the masculine. The first card I pulled was the Fool, and I pulled it one at a time. So we had the Fool, we had the Queen of Swords, and we had the Eight of Cups come out. And on the bottom of the deck was the Six of Pentacles. It's interesting to me because immediately what I heard was this is a new beginning in communication and self-expression for the Divine Masculine, where they are walking away from anything that didn't serve them in the past when it came to how they communicated themselves or how they expressed themselves. And this has a lot to do with regards to boundaries. Now, for masculines, the feminine energy of self-expression has been very suppressed. Masculines, males especially in our culture, because we live in a patriarchy or have lived in a patriarchy for centuries, masculines and males in particular have been taught to suppress their emotions. They have been taught to not have opinions. They have been taught to suppress how they feel, how they think. Everything has been based within the logic, and their own intuition has been suppressed. So that has been shifting with the ascension process, with the shift out of the patriarchy and not into a matriarchy, but into more that place of balance. We might see the pendulum swing more to matriarchal energy, but it's coming into balance. It's coming into wholeness. It's not about one moving to the other, because those are just another extreme, right? It's about coming into balance. It's about coming into wholeness. And that's what our Sacred Union Path of Ascension teaches us. It teaches us that balance. It teaches us the harmony of the polarities, the balance of the polarities. That's not about rejecting one or the other. It's not about negating one or the other. It's not about going from one extreme to the next. It's about coming into that balance, into that wholeness. into that middle way, into that middle path. That's what your ascension journey teaches you. And so what's interesting about this is something was coming up with regards to boundaries. And as soon as I heard the word boundaries with regards to the Queen of Swords, I said, that's interesting, because I just had a conversation last night with a longtime friend who, coincidentally or not, has the same name as my counterpart. This friend and I have been friends for 30 years. We met online. We have never met in person, but we have talked, we have FaceTimed, we have been friends, like I said, for over 30 years now, since we were teenagers. And very much a soulmate. I think I mentioned him in my book as well. Very much a soulmate energy. And he's one in which, when I was in separation with my counterpart or going through periods of conflict with my counterpart, he would say something that would directly reflect what my counterpart would say. An idiom, for example, that my counterpart would say. And I would say to him, my friend, I would say, why did you just say that? And he said, I don't know. It just came out. But it was something that my counterpart would always say, an idiom that he would use. And so that's the twin flame energy that moves through other people, right? And so it was interesting that we had reconnected. We haven't spoken for a couple of months. And that's how you have soulmate friends, where you're able to allow time and space and distance to happen. But there's still love there. There's still affection. There's still friendship. And you know that you can reach out anytime. That's the kind of friendship that I've had with him over these past 30 years. And so he reached out, and we were chatting, we were talking and sharing about our lives, and catching each other up a little bit. And he was sharing I was sharing how I'm happy. And he said, and there's nothing externally that would make me so. If you look at my life externally, there's nothing that would call to this sense of happiness, but it's everything that I've cultivated within myself. It's this peace that I've felt, this joy that I've felt, this happiness that I've felt, that is coming from some deep within, that's coming from my inner work. That's why the inner work is important. It's not something externally that is a creation of your happiness. It's yourself. It's your inner world that cultivates that, and your external world then reflects that. That's what I teach with all of my one-to-one clients. That's what the breakthroughs are. That's what the transformation is all about. That's what we channel here. It is all about the inner growth. That is not something that is reflective of the external world that makes it so, but your external world is reflective of the peace, the joy, the happiness that you're feeling within you. And so I said to him, I don't know why. I said, there's no external reason for it. I said, but I just am. I just am happy and fulfilled and at peace. And he said, tell me your secrets. And I said, honestly, I don't really know. I said, it's the inner work that I've done. It's the journey I've been on. And I said, and honestly, a lot of that plays a part to boundaries. And he said something very interesting. He said, that's the trick, isn't it? He said, boundaries are really hard for me. And I said, I get it. So when this energy came out, the energy that I was feeling before I was pulling cards was this Mars energy. And I feel like masculines are experiencing some of that friction, some of that tension. This could be your own inner masculine as well as your external masculine, your counterpart, for example. Take it as it resonates for you, but also remember that it's one and the same. So remember not to discredit your own inner masculine that you're working with, that you're healing, that you're growing as well. So the masculine energy might be experiencing some friction, some tension, some conflict, some power dynamics. But I feel like that's where the boundaries are coming into play. That's where they're learning how to have boundaries. That's where they're learning how to speak up, express themselves, and communicate in healthier ways. They're walking away from old patterns. That's what this Eight of Cups represents. They're walking away from old patterns that had them denying their own power. That's what is reflected in power dynamics. When it feels like somebody or authority has power over you, and this could be someone, this could be a situation. For example, if you struggle with finances, you might feel like finances have some kind of power over you. Addictions, authority figures, parents, teachers, managers, supervisors, whatever this is, even structural systems. I'm being shown Saturn, so structural systems like medical establishments or judicial systems or governmental authorities, so that's all Saturn energy. So You might think that there are these power dynamics, but what that actually shows you is where you have been neglecting your own power, where you have been giving that power away. And the masculine energy especially confuse power, thinking that, oh, I have to have power over somebody in order to reclaim power for myself. When we've known on this ascension journey, we're taught on this ascension journey that it's the opposite, that power comes from within. That it's not claiming power over someone, it's claiming power within yourself. So I feel like there's this huge learning opportunity that's happening for the divine masculines. They're embarking on a new phase of their journey, a new phase of themselves, where they are recognizing what a real balance is, what real harmony is, what a real dynamic is, a partnership is. And that partnership doesn't have to be into a physical romantic relationship, although it can also be shown in physical romantic relationship, but partnership in general. What does it mean to work with myself, to honor myself? What does it mean to work with other people and honor other people? What does it mean to be in partnership? This could be in a work environment. This could be in a family dynamic, in co-parenting, in a romantic relationship. They're almost like revisiting and seeing everything in a different light. It's a very interesting energy here. It's a very beautiful energy here. This is a very delicate time for the divine masculine is the word that I'm getting, because I feel like they are really shifting how they perceive everything. And divine feminines, I have to say this because it's coming through as an emphatic message. If you are solely looking at your connection with your twin flame, if you're solely watching these readings to understand what your divine masculine is going through, and you're saying, well, what about the romantic connection? Then you're missing a whole big piece of the puzzle. This journey is about the whole puzzle and not just the romantic relationship aspect of it. The romantic relationship aspect, or your relationship and connection with your counterpart, is going to be reflective in everything they're learning and every which way they're growing. It's all part of the whole. Everything is interconnected. So don't think that just because I'm not talking about the romantic relationship, that that's not impacted, that that's not affected. That you're, just because I'm talking about the masculine's growth and the masculine's journey, talking about having boundaries with their family, or having boundaries, or finding balance within their work situations, or whatever this is, that's not going to have an impact on you. You're still creating separation then. If you are looking at your connection and only focused on the romantic relationship, or you're only focused on how it's affecting you, you're missing you're missing the connection. You're missing the whole impact of what this connection actually is. Because what one affects the whole. If you're really understanding that you are one, if you're really believing that you are twin flames, and that you are one with your counterpart, and that your counterpart is you, then you're understanding that everything that your counterpart is experiencing affects you too, or affects the connection, or affects the relationship. Otherwise, you're just creating more separation. And if you're struggling with that, we have a lot of resources in our Ascension Connections portal, or you can book a one-on-one session with me to create that breakthrough and to create that transformation, so that you're really truly seeing that everything that the divine counterpart is going through is impacting the connection too. There's not an either or in the twin flame connection. It is an and. Everything is part of the whole in your connection. Okay? Really important to understand. Okay, so I was going to let's just see what the feminine might be experiencing right now. What might the feminine be experiencing right now? Yeah, you have your nose to the grindstone. Yeah, you have your nose to the grindstone. You need, in order for this, the lovers, you need to be focused on this, which is you. And when I say nose to the grindstone, I mean not focus on what your counterpart is doing as if that's separate from yourself, but focusing on you, your journey, so that your counterpart can meet you there, so that your counterpart can meet you where you are. The lovers is all about that union energy, but union is within you. And so your job is to focus on that union within, creating that union within, not seeking that externally, not thinking that that's something still outside of yourself. That is where your new beginning comes into play. That is where you have that tangible beginning, that tangible something new. Because you're recognizing that it's not coming from my actions. It's not coming from what I do outside of myself. It's coming from everything that I cultivate within. At the bottom of the deck, we also have the Six of Cups. 6 and 6, everything is coming into balance here. Everything is coming into more harmony. I'm also feeling like this is a time ripe with reunion energy. So you might be experiencing communication. It doesn't have to come directly from your counterpart. This can be telepathic. This can be in dream state. I experienced for the first time in a couple of months a dream. I think it was a couple of months, couple of weeks, couple of months, a dream with my counterpart. I almost didn't recognize him except for the eyes. I was driving past and he stood up, and all of a sudden I looked into his eyes and I recognized him, and everything else about him was unrecognizable except for his eyes. And it was my counterpart's eyes. And so what that told me, it actually showed me a lot. It showed me that allow for the transformation to take place, but you will always recognize your counterpart by their energy, by their heart, by their soul. You might not recognize their actions anymore. You might not even recognize them anymore, depending on how long you've been in separation or how long you have been on this journey. You might not even recognize them. And I'm also getting a message for some of you who have not met your counterpart yet, but who have been feeling the energy of your counterpart along this journey. You might have been activated not by a physical presence, but by the sacred union path as a whole. You might not have met your physical counterpart yet, but you will recognize them by their eyes. You will recognize them by their energy, the eyes being the windows of the soul. So there's a lot of reunion energy that's coming to play that I do feel is going to carry over into the new year. I feel like December is a time of, I don't want to say the word action because that's going to get misconstrued, and I know it's going to get misconstrued, but I do feel like there's forward momentum. There is forward movement on this journey. And recognize that this is a journey. This is a journey. This is a journey of soul growth. This is a journey of ascension. And so the more that you release that resistance, release that this is how it has to happen, or this is the blueprint, you are creating your own blueprint. Nobody creates that blueprint. There might be other couples and other twin flame teachers and other twin flame readers, healers, and guides who have gone before you, have kind of set the stage, but they're going based on their own experiences. There is no blueprint. You create your blueprint. Because you create your journey, you create your life. You are living your journey. You are the living embodiment of love. You are the living embodiment of union and your union. And so you have guides, but those guides are just guiding you in that soul growth to remember your union. Remember that you have and always will be in union. You always have been in union with your counterpart, that there is no separation. That is where your focus is right now, to create that breakthrough and create that transformation for yourself. And that's where this reunion energy is coming through. Reunion is just a remembrance of, oh, we've always been in union. There has never been a separation. Even if it looks like separation in the physical world, even if we're in no contact, even if we're not in communication, even if we haven't seen each other or talked to each other, or this is how we left off, recognize that union is within. It is cultivated within. It is created within. It is and always has been. You've just been living under the illusion of separation. That's what you're breaking through now. That's the forward momentum that you're experiencing in December, moving into the new year. Okay? All right. Beautiful. Oh my gosh. And 2 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. Exactly. You are and always have been in union. And 3 of Cups is my union card. Exactly. 3 of Cups. This is what they showed me as my union card. It was the 2 cups pouring into the 3rd. This is your union. This is the balancing of the polarities. We have been channeling that for many, many years. This is the balancing of the polarities, the merging of the energies into union. But that's created within you. You balance the energies within you. You recognize that you're not separate from your counterpart. Your counterpart is not something outside of you. Twin flame is an energy. Is an energy that you are, that you carry with you. And your counterpart is a reflection of that. So if you're still looking at them as something outside of yourself, you're still creating separation. This is what you are healing. This is what you're beginning to embody. This is what is shifting. Incredible. All right, that is going to be it. We'll be back later this week with another Sacred Union Energy update. Also, make sure you're checking out the Soul Path readings and the Sacred Channelings for much more in-depth channelings with regards to Sacred Union. You can check them all out for free in our Ascension Connections portal or on our playlists on our channels here. I'm sending so much love and so much light. We'll see you next time.